Yes, we are live now. So, hey folks, this is me, Vishwasnan. I'm the host of this DevOps chat show. And over a course of time, I've realized one thing that there is always a new purpose in adopting a cloud. Like, it need not have to be business, it need not have to be process, it need not have to be completely filled with so jargonish automations. It can be something like, can I simplify my job using cloud? Everything is on cloud. Like, your app is on cloud, your OS can be optimized on cloud, and everything. So, I think over a course of time, I also realized that, let's just remove the tag of being that fellow engineer of Azure, GCP, or anything going gaga about a product, but now just start to understand that, hey, you know what? I need to solve problem statements. That's how it is. So I'm with Nilesh Shinde. He's the technical consultant at KPMG. And over a course of time, he has worked on amazing projects as well. So he'll be sharing some insights about those hustle that we have to do in those projects, and also a lot of insights about what is happening in the industry today. We need that because we need to grow in the industry. That's how it is. So I welcome Nilesh Shinde. Thank you so much, brother, for being on my show. Means a lot. It was just a call on Thursday that we just did it, and Saturday morning I was sending the questions, and today we are doing the show. So thank you so much, brother.
Hi Vishwas, hi everyone. Thanks for having me. So let's start with you can say my formal introduction that you have given, that I am working at KPMG India as a tech consultant. So basically, I work in Oracle department there. So we serve all the major Indian banks as a client. So we work on their data warehousing, data lineage kind of a domain. So there we mostly work on the data part. So whatever is data related requirements, we serve them from our technical expertise. So that is what my
Yeah.
formal introduction is. Yeah.
So let's get it started. What was your experience or journey in the world of cloud? Can you express those experience in a form of an academic world and also move more towards that professional world? Because a lot of times, that journey as a student paves our way into an humongous personality. Like, you need that journey. You need that journey at any cost as a student. Because we all
Yeah.
start as a student. So I wanted to know, what was your journey as a student and how did you pave yourself that way in the professional world?
Yeah. So basically, I learned about cloud in my masters. Okay. In my graduation, I didn't know much about cloud hands on. I just I just knew the term that there is something called cloud. So I started exploring it in my masters. So in 2 3 years, I dabbled around Google Cloud as my starting point, because that was a bit easy to get started there, because they have some some resources which are open for students or non developers. So you can start there at that time. But now other cloud providers are also reaching out to non developer people. So they are trying to make the onboarding process, the training process, a little bit easier for people to get on the journey. So that's how I started cloud. So currently, like, I'm into phase of learning Azure. To be specific, I want to learn more services around their data engineering, database domain stuff. So I've been doing few projects. I've done few projects in cloud before joining my current role. So that is how my cloud journey has been.
That's a fun part about it. Like, you don't know anything. Once you come into
Yeah.
the industry, you start to realize that there's an joining dot process that you still have to go through, right? You know
Mhm.
something in your academics, like SQL, you know how to write queries, but now querying that onto a warehouse or querying that onto a mesh, that is a whole new challenge. So now let's just start with this entire thing. Your experience in working on a cloud solution, the first time that you started delivering for any
Yeah.
sort of a solution. I know you talked about your internship as well. So let's talk about yourself as an internship trainee. And now let's just go on to
Yeah.
your recent production pushes. So
Mm.
how was the journey all about? So you started out as an person who wanted to work in cloud, and now you are having that great amount of experience. So how do you bridge the gap between that first experience as a trainee and first experience in terms of a production push that you had?
Okay, so let's start with a story, like how I started with my journey. So whatever I told you just now, that I've been studying cloud in my masters. Then later stage in my masters, I asked to do an internship. So but fortunately, I got a chance to work with a very good company where I was put as a research intern. So in my research intern role, I got a project for cloud. So basically they wanted me to deploy some AI features using cloud on their particular use case. So I can share you the use case, like it is before COVID, or maybe you can say just before COVID I was working there. So they were working on a video intelligence thing. So basically people who give online exams, so they wanted to check, like what is the percentage of cheating. So that is more relevant, that became more relevant after COVID or during COVID, but we were doing that at that time. So basically there I was asked to explore a particular platform, then understand the problem statement. So how can you give a better solution or a quick solution uh, in very less amount of cost, because POCs are like POCs are made in very less amount of uh, you can say cost. So the people don't incur more cost on POCs. So there I learned about GCP again. Then I started exploring some APIs that GCP has created. So that's how we brought together the solution, presented it to the management, then got approval, and then finally worked on it. So that's how I got to know about the gap, because when you are in academics, you are the owner of that personal thing. Okay, you can take any decisions, and you know that your thought process is good for working on that. But when you go to a corporate world or a company project, there are so many stakeholders that you have to compliant be compliant with. So you make sure that there is proper study about your idea, how it is good, and what are the drawbacks, and what you are doing for solving that drawbacks. Otherwise it will not get approved at all. Okay, so
Yeah.
you might have the best idea, but you don't know how to convince people about that idea. So that idea will only remain idea, it will not get in reality. So that is what the gap is, because in academics we only think in terms of technology, we don't think in terms of business, what actually client wants, what actually the need of that particular person who is going to use your solution. It's just not technology, there is a lot of business side to it. Yeah.
Yeah, like can you talk about your recent production push? I know you can't say about companies that
Yeah.
you're part of, or else you can't say about it, but one experience that you carried out throughout that entire journey of your
Yeah. So
code getting pushed into the
mhm.
production. So how was that feeling all about? Like I'm really craving for that. Like I'm
Mhm.
really craving for that. Anybody looking at it, I'm really craving for that. I don't want to do my
Yeah.
PhD, but yeah, like I'm bound to do that. But so for sure.
Yeah.
So how was that feeling all about?
So basically, I'll tell you some details by masking other details that I can't share. Okay, so basically, I do write some procedures in Oracle for now. So that's what got migrated to production. So I did write a considerable amount of PLSQL code for a client, and it's obviously a bank. So whatever moves to production, it has an impact, either positive, either negative. That depends on your luck. Okay, it's not about skill, it's about luck. Production, anything can happen. So that day they moved my code to production, I was there as a inspector kind of a thing, just looking what they are doing and how they are doing. So that's how I wrote some code in particularly 2 3 tasks of the batch, and due to that that batch, that tasks, some other 10 tasks were failing. And I was like, oh, now what to do? I don't know about that 10 tasks. Okay, I just wrote the code for 2 tasks. So that's how, it was a very, you can say, very overwhelming feeling. Like, now how should I contain this, uh, this whatever problem has happened. But somehow I tackled it with my teammates, and that's how we solved that problem. So then later we realized, there was some silly mistake that triggered this problem. It was not because of the code. So yeah, that was my experience. So that was great when you see that there is a proper impact of each and every line that you are writing.
Yeah, like sometimes I do a lot of SaaS analysis on TensorFlow. Like that's what we do, right? We go back to the code, we see where is a memory leak happening, where is this optimization not working. You have amazing set of softwares, you have some missing set of code, but over a course of time, you will be there with respect to the cloud adoption and everything. So let's just talk in terms of the current situation in the cloud that is in a corporate world. What is the driving factor behind cloud adoption today, and like how are people coming out with a new solution that are like much more humongous than what we think? Like cloud has its own way of adopting, but like how is it going right now?
Yeah. So I would like to talk in terms of business sense more than a technical sense. So basically, when you think about cloud as a technology to adopt, so there is a proper cost uh, that is someone want to incur on that. So basically the major factor is cost, like how you can deliver solutions in less cost. So cloud helps in a way, because all the benefits of cloud in infrastructure region. Also there is one more point called as vendor lock-in. So many companies move to cloud and they experience that. Also the migration process, like whatever is happening on your on-prem solutions or on-prem environment, you have to somehow get it on cloud to scale it on a bigger level. So these are the factors that drive cloud adoption. So you can say after COVID there are few situations like the education industry. So it got a big revolution, that everything became online. So that's how companies started adopting cloud, that they wanted to put their services to as many people as possible in a virtual world. So that's how cloud industry actually got its boom. Also in terms of enterprise world, you will say, so they always measure the impact more than the technology. Like if I use X technology, what is an impact? I use Y technology, what is an impact? Okay, so in terms of impact, cloud is you can say it has a broader impact on overall industry, because you get so many things in a particular, you can say a package. So if you say of any hyperscaler, they provide like numerous number of services under a roof. Okay, so that is the benefit of cloud, you can say. So that's why people go there to get it as a package of services, rather than reaching out to 10 different companies for 10 different services. So that is my view on it.
Yeah, you have come across this entire thing. So, are there any reasons that a vendor gives to you, or else that customer gives to you? Like, what? I need this component from this cloud only. I need this feature from this entire functionality of that entire product that is given by the CSP or something. So, I wanted to know, like, what is the main factor behind that cloud adoption that's happening? Like, in terms of the features that we are going through. So it's something like you still have a super admin access, but yet there are some restrictions out there. So all about that. So what is the main protocol, or is the main aspect in which a customer starts talking to you? Because you are now a technical consultant. So what are some of those aspects which customers come back with some reasons in order to adopt something
Yeah.
using the cloud?
Yeah, so basically, I'll try to create a customer journey. Suppose a customer comes in, so he has like 5 to 10 requirements regarding their use case. Okay, so after listening to that use cases, so we plan some things like what technology we should use. Then we discuss on that. What are the limitations? What are the advantages? So this way we try to come up on a common ground. Then uh, then we think about the implementation part, that how we can implement this using cloud. Specifically, you can say using cloud, how we can implement this. So in cloud also, what are the services that we want to opt for? Like, there are some things which you can use a particular service for, but you can also implement it in some other service. Okay, instead of using a you can say a separate service for that. So that's why we try to build the architecture. And then after 2 or 3 meetings, there may be a case that the new requirement comes. So you can say, this particular requirement is a bit difficult to implement in a particular hyperscaler, so we want to check in for some other cloud vendor to get that requirement for. Okay, so you can say there are some database related things which companies like Oracle do best, you can say, in possible ways. So you have already that services in your on prem, and you somehow want to connect with your cloud. So that is an use case. So this way we need to then check the compatibility of those two vendors. If there is a compatibility, then that's not an issue. But if there is not, then we need to try to write a custom code or a connector to try to implement it in some cases. So that is a big challenge when there is a limitation. There is not such a big limitations, but yeah, there are some platform specific limitations that each and every cloud provider has. So that's a problem. So that's why people opt for, you can say, multi cloud or hybrid cloud things. So in multi cloud, these problems becomes a bit less of an intensity. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it is, right? We might talk GCP, we might talk Azure, but the main goal of we adopting to the cloud is, what? I don't want my engineers to think what is going to be the network flaw that is going to be there in that entire system architecture. Let's say somebody has opened 22nd port. There is Microsoft Defender which is saying, hey, you know what? There are some worst practices coming out from this team. you know that's how it is. We all still go with the hub and spoke model. We all still go adapt to the technology. We all still talk scale at the end of the day
Mhm.
because we want our customers to be happy. I think right now I shared something on YouTube and Twitch. So this was all about the Microsoft's announcement with respect to the Oracle and the Microsoft collaboration that is happening. So I wanted to know, like, what is going to be the phase in which we are going to go through a cloud adoption, because Oracle and Microsoft is teaming up. So I just wanted to know, there are pretty good amount of customers out there who are really keen on what Oracle has been offering throughout the years. So I wanted to know what is going to be an impact on this development community with respect to the Oracle fans and the Azure fans coming up in one space, because a lot of these services are getting very similar, like in terms of like adoption, in also in terms of like thinking like, we had Oracle, can we move to Azure? We had Azure, can we also take in some of the Oracle aspects? So how is this going to be an impact in the development community, as well as how are people going to perceive this? Because this is actually the news of the hour, and it's still going to be the news of the hour. It's like what Microsoft acquired one of the gaming companies, one of the big games out there, the Minecraft and things like that. So it's all about that. So what
Yeah.
is going to be the impact that Microsoft and Oracle combined can bring for the development community? Like, what do you expect from this collaboration?
Yeah, so let me share some light on this. So basically, it's not the first time that Microsoft and Oracle is partnering on something. So they have been partnering for a few of the services from very long time. So currently, the news came, which is specifically for the Azure services, you can say. on cloud services. So basically, it is called as Oracle Database Services on Azure. So basically, you need to understand what these two major giants are doing, before understanding the partnership. So basically, Oracle is, very proficient in data related things. Okay. And in, you can say, Microsoft Azure is very proficient in cloud related technologies, and also the application layer that brings that the technology brings with Azure. So they want to somehow, merge these two things. So they want to take the, the data aspect from Oracle, mix it with the application aspect of Azure and the availability aspect, and they want to serve the wider range of clients. So basically, there are clients who are very Oracle specific. There are clients who are very Microsoft specific. Okay, they have their own solutions. So now they want to get both of the worlds, like best of both worlds. They want, data related services which are from a very best data service, and they want availability and other cloud services, which infrastructure, you can say, which is with Microsoft, which is very high availability thing. So that's how they started this partnership. So basically, there are 3 4 services with Oracle, like autonomous database, is base, Exadata storage. These are the services that Oracle has proprietarily. So now you can, manage these kind of services which you are already having in your on-prem environment through your Azure console. So that will be, more, you can say, more in line with Azure kind of a theme, that pane you can use for your database management of Oracle. So basically, that is the idea, to capture both the you can say clients on both of the company sides. So that is the major idea. So in terms of impact, you can say, there are some impacts in terms of services, that now they will, readily available in your VMs, readily available on Azure. In terms of Oracle people, now you have, you can say, you can serve clients on a number of different regions that Microsoft already has. So you can say, in terms of cloud, suddenly there is a lot number of regions when you combine these both vendors, in terms of cloud region I'm talking. So that makes this opportunity to serve your clients in very remote parts also. Like, you can put your code, put your application to that particular region of that geographical, uh, area. So that's how you can leverage both of the sides. So that is the impact, you can say.
Yeah, like this is out of the topic, by the way. This is not something that I really wanted to ask, but like there's data mesh coming up today. So today there is an age of data mesh. We had service mesh, which really rocked the world. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, there are like, even we have a lot of stories with respect to the build piper. We have in terms of ops tree, like we have a great service wing, we have a great product wing. That's how we are actually in. Like, I saw amazing use cases, like amazing companies, by the way. So I wanted to know what are what is the phase in which there is going to be an impact in respect to the data warehousing technology or the data technology that we are having today. So how are these things going to be affected? Because you have worked on a lot with respect to Oracle, like not to an extent that he is not old, by the way, he's still young. Like, we are talking in terms of the way in which he has seen the clientele projects that are coming up in different places. So I wanted to know, how is that evolution going to be there with respect to the technology, with respect to the data jargon that we are going to add with respect to that. So how is that rapid shift going to be more effective with respect to all these collaborations which are happening with the CSP community, right? GCP never thought of adapting Databricks onto their cloud, but they still have their own Databricks wing, which is there. Like Azure Active Directory is still going to be the on to go security for your Databricks and those workloads. So they are pretty huge, by the way. You can't mess up with that workload. That's a GPU workload which is at the scale. Spot instances are available. So how is it going to be there in terms of the data adoption with respect to that technology that we are talking today? How is it going to impact the world? of the data science, deep learning, or else how is it going to be?
Yeah. So when you talk about data, there is a very big concept called big data. So and that's gonna getting bigger and bigger as the time goes. So in terms of technology, you will see that there will be a lot more solutions uh, based on the type of data that we want to manage, because data types are you know of different, you can say, different formats. So that's how, in terms of data, you'll see there is a shift of instead of converting data into what we want to consume, we'll try to get a service or solution where we can combine a lot more sources of data in a single pane, and that's how we can consume it. Okay. So basically the data diversity part, we can see more solutions on that. uh, in terms of cloud, you can say the availability part. Whatever data is there, is it available? Second is security part, is it secure? Okay. Is it future proof? So these kind of solutions are expected to come. Also, it is mainly in my experience, it is more client specific, what clients want instead of what we can offer. So basically whatever is the client's need, we need to cater that. So that's how companies will try to merge on different technologies. You mentioned about Azure Active Directory. So Oracle has merged with Azure for this data services. So also they have taken advantage of Azure Active Directory. So you can connect both your Azure subscription with your OCI tenancy. So that's how it automatically creates your login and everything. So you can manage both of the resources through a single pane. So that's how these vendors will identify who has the state of the art technology or a particular service, and then they try to make some provisions to adopt it in each and every use case they want to serve to client. So that, I think, that is the adoption
Yeah,
part. On the vendor level also will happen.
yeah. Like Azure Arc came out. Azure Arc is also being supported through VMs, right?
Mhm.
Arc VM. There is an Arc VM which is coming up. The load balancers, like if you like back then when I used to like. I'm not that old, by the way. Like I can't say back then, but like once
We
I
both
once I
can't say
once I
that.
think like we both can't say that, by the way. Like once I think about something like 2019 or 2020ish, that's the time where Azure notebooks were free, by the way. You were able to run anything on Azure with and CPU run. I think that was free, by the way. Afterwards everything started going more secure in terms of like Azure repos were not out and things like that. But once I see the way in which VM also has improvised, right? I always say this: VM is never going to go out of this entire technology stack. It's still going to be there because it is supposed to be there for the technology stack. And I have always witnessed that, there's a different way in which we are coming up with the VM. Let me just say AWS. AWS has their own M series EC2 instances coming up. Like Azure is pretty humongous in terms of their naming, like N series, D series, F series. Like they have different ones. So I feel there is going to be a new challenge for us to think what is going to be the best, because everything is optimized,
Right.
everything is going to be there for
Mhm.
us. So now I wanted to know, how do you tackle a problem statement? Like every time it's not the same for me, for you, because a lot of times when I think something like, hey, you know what, I'll just read 10 research papers, it's going to be there, it's going to be perfect for me. I read the documentation, I'll TensorFlow is just API jugaad. There's nothing magical, mystical there. So don't worry about that. Anybody can achieve that. So how to tackle a problem statement and how to perceive a problem statement, by the way, because a lot of times, the solution will be very close by, but we will stop trying. So how to tackle a problem statement and how to deliver a solution.
Okay. So firstly, you can say there are a lot of theory about problem solving and everything. I'll just give you my take on it. So basically, I'm in a consulting business now. So in consulting, there are three, four principles which are very important to any problem while solving it. So basically, firstly, I focus on, do I know the problem correctly? Okay, whatever has said to me, do I understand it thoroughly? That is the main goal. If you don't understand, then how could you solve it? Okay, that is the major issue. So basically, I understand it first, that what needs to be done. Okay, then I ask myself why this needs to be done. Why there is, this problem came up. What is the cause of that problem? Third thing, then how, then we go to how, like how we can, you know solve this problem. So then then I break the task into, multiple parts. Like then I try to, create a starting point. So uh, from where I should start approaching this problem. So suppose there are three four requirements given by client, and now I want to deliver that three four requirements, but I should start somewhere. Like what is the starting point? So whatever I understood best, I start with that point. Okay, so then I read about it. Then I have a, discussion about it in with my team, with the senior people. Like, these are the problems, and I think these are the approaches we can go with. So then I get their insights, uh, their suggestions. Then I modify my approach, and then we present it to client. Like, look, this is what we have come up with. Are you okay with this solution, or you want to, modify something, or you want to add it on something? That's how we finally, freeze the requirements, freeze the plan, and then we start developing it technically. So then comes the second phase, when you face technical problems. So, for in initial stage, you thought, this is very easily achievable. Then you get to know, no, you need to do some jugaad here, or you can say you need to do some modifications here to achieve that what you thought initially. So that's how you, get some technical help, or you try to explore it. In this process, you learn a lot. Like in consulting, every problem is new, you can say. So I learn a lot in that sense, because to solve one problem, I need to study other 10. Okay, so that's how it expands, a person's mindset, or you can say knowledge base. So that's how I delivered solutions till now, and I'm trying to continue that. So in that term, I have explored different technologies also. So, though I was working with Oracle team, still they allowed me to, you can say, explore Hadoop big data stuff, because it's, eventually related to data. So that's how, yeah, I approach problem. You first understand it, then analyze, then break into parts, then choose a starting point from where I want to enter that problem, and then you try to solve it.
Yeah, I think community is an integral part of me and you, right? It's like we all are the products of the community. Like, we all learned because we were like that. I always say this, I'm always that hungry dog in a street of education. I just want education. Just give me that. That's how we approach people. That's how things happen to me, right? I always go by that approach. Be humble till you are the monster, right? It's something like even after you be a monster, you should be humble because people need to respect that struggle that you have gone through. That's how it is. You should never boast about the things that you have achieved. Like everybody does that. You require a social validation, but that journey of having that career growth from 1 to 6, amazing ego fly overs and everything. But 6 to 9, 9.5 out of that 10, that's the scale that we can go through. I think that's actually humongous. You get less amount of social validation, less amount of people. So I wanted to know, how did community really help you in educating yourself, and also some of the resources, because how are these things evolving with respect to the resources that we can have today, with respect to the places that we can visit. There are some communities which are mecca for learning something. So I think elastic community is doing pretty awesome, because last time I just had a YouTube video and I shared it to one person, and that really solved a humongous problem which they were stuck for a week. So that's how it is. So, what's your take on this?
Yeah, so I'd like to talk about my community side now. So till now we were talking about my professional role. So for a passion, I do community management as well. So in Mumbai region, I'm a part of, you can say few of the technical communities in one and another role. So in terms of learning through community, it is a, you can say, it is a great resource for learning. When you talk about community and my journey in community, so I started community building, or you can say I am introduced to community 4 years back. So that time I didn't know what is community is. I was just a college student. So then I got to know about it, then I explored more. So that's how I got some opportunities in terms of technical learning. Okay, so I started learning about Google Cloud through Quick Labs. So there is a platform called Quick Labs. So it is, it is used by many people to actually get hands-on things on cloud. So that's how I got some credits from community. Then I, discussed with some of my community friends, like how should I, approach this technology? How should I, uh, what should I learn about it? So that's how you get a lot of friends, you can say, in community to help you through your journey. You can get, different people who are on different stages of their learning journey. So you can ask them doubts in that particular area. So that's how I think community is important in terms of technology learning. And that's why I do a lot of community activities as well. So I'm a Azure dev lead for my region. Also, I'm an organizer with Elastic User Group Mumbai, and also I'm exploring now, API region. So that is, you can say, API technology. So I'm working with Kong Meetup Mumbai. So there I'm, an organizer, and I want to learn more about Kong and, build a community around it. So that is what my journey is in community. And I would like to, um, up, appeal to more people that if you don't know anything about any technology, don't stop there. You can get into these groups, get into these communities, ask your doubts, and that way you can, move ahead with that particular technology. There are a lot of
Yeah.
people that can help you. Or otherwise you can, ask Vishwas. He can direct you to a particular person or a particular resource that may help you.
Yeah, yeah, I think learning, because they asked me some question, has also helped me in many ways, by the way.
Right.
Like it
Hmm.
has given me so much of insights that, oh, this can also be approached like this. I go discuss with a lot of my mentors, yeah, of course we have a lot of talk with my mentors. We love talking with each other. We do a lot of blah 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 talks, but yeah, like we love talking to them. I think it was a great set of insights, bro. You shared a lot of insights. So I think what happened with respect to VMware adoption that we saw is probably going to be humongous with respect to Oracle and Azure adoption, which is happening. Because VMware was more towards a hybrid approach and on premises management, but today it's more towards the data mesh approach. Because ThoughtWorks came out with the agile principles, agile manifestations, and this and that, but they also are coming up with data mesh. I think probably the humongous difference that we are going to see with respect to cloud adoption is going to change once we know how to architect a data mesh. Snowflakes is there. Databricks is actually on their verge of creating some amazing use cases using data meshes. Service mesh is evolving, by the way. Service mesh is not
Yeah.
the end of it. Like there is serverless aspects also coming inside this entire service mesh aspects as well. Like micro VMs are there from AWS. So think about it. Firecracker. Sorry for that. Not micro VM, but it's a firecracker. So lot of things, man. I don't know where the cloud is going to be there. I don't know whether by the time I am going to be around 80 or something, probably the form factor of the cloud is going to change. It probably might be something else. We don't know that. So evolve, evolve, evolve. I think thank you so much, Nilesh, bro. It was amazing talking to you. And feel free to reach out to me at vishwas.net, buildpiper.io. We have an amazing community. We are coming out with Build Piper shows. We are coming out with DevOps Champion. We are also coming out with a lot of initiatives which can help you deliver your microservices solution with a lot of ease. Like, you don't talk in terms of pipelines here. You only talk in terms of microservices in our product, because microservices is the first class citizen of Build Piper. So yeah, so you can reach out to me and also subscribe to my channel. That gives me a lot of motivation. And thank you so much, brother. Means a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Vishwas. Thank you, everyone, for having me here. So I would like to, tell everybody, yeah, you please reach out to Vishwas and subscribe. So he, keeps on doing this kind of a stuff, and you and I, we both get, learning opportunities from it. So yeah, thanks for having me here.
Yes. Adios, amigos. We'll end the broadcast.